we stopped last week. Hello everyone. Okay, permit me to let me share the screen, then we can have a full grasp of the class. Okay, before I commence, can I quickly know those that are joining the class? Okay, and where is again? Tijani Ablasis. Imam Ghani Mubarak. Okay, thank you. Next person, please. Yeah, thank you. And the next person. Who is this? Sharafaddin Lawa. Are you actually joining us, or you are using a chat board to? Please. Okay. Please. What's your name? If you are with us. What do you say? Who speak? Sheikh Tijani. Okay, I thought she was talking to us. Please tell her to mute her mic. So I think 4 people are in attendance. I just share that with you so that I can know how we start this class. So the last week we tried to look at some areas information security system can be compromised, and you realize that, excuse me, areas where information security systems can be compromised, and we also look at principle of information security systems. And quick one, we want to look at I think we have explained some of these key terminology: risk, threat, and vulnerability in the last class, so we don't need to delve more, waste more time on that. But we will realize that some of these threats are actually to exploit systems vulnerabilities, and the threats can easily come from human error or failure due to negligence of the administrator. That's how you can exploit some vulnerabilities in information systems. And when you are looking at threats from vulnerability is mostly particular to configurations, because when you have your information security policy, you also have your information security model. Are you getting it? And you have your information security mechanisms. The linkages between these parameters is what? Configuration, isn't that? Even though policy is more of abstract, so let us put that aside. We have some information security mechanisms and information security model. Particularly the mechanisms. What we need to do to make it suitable for the objective is we have to configure these mechanisms to our information system. Is that right? And in the process of this configuration, vulnerability also can be exploited as a result of improper configurations or poor configurations. Vulnerability can be exploited from that area. And what are the vulnerabilities we are explaining here? In the last week, we talked about different vulnerabilities. We talked about 2 categories of vulnerability. We talked about the passive attack and what? The active attacks. And we explained how these categories of attacks could be launched on an information systems without even being detected. Or if it's going to be detected, it required sophisticated attack prevention techniques. So we also talk about vulnerabilities that happens from human error or system failure. Now let us look at human error. This time around, we call it a kind of a misconfigurations. So if services are misconfigured, attackers can exploit that loopholes and launch an attack on the systems. And when an attack is launched on an information systems, what you should expect is what? Compromise of the system integrity, ensuring the data is not available, and of course, confidentiality of the information systems will be affected. We talked about the CIA tried last week and how they impact the confidentiality of the information systems. Another threat category could be explained on deliberate acts of espionage or trespass. And what does this mean? Espionage is maybe probably a kind of social engineering approach by the use of phishing attempts to test people's diligence towards an information system, or sometimes we call it trespass. Under this trespass, we have maybe hacking, that is black hacking, or even some hacking could be in form of trespass when you hack an information systems without the consent of the user or the organizations. And what does this actually still result to? It also results to deliberate acts of information extortions. So realize that how information security is being compromised, and the motive behind this compromisation is either to cause a theft to the intellectual property, or to cause or distort the flow of information from one hand to another. And of course, it could be deliberate act of sabotage or vandalism. We still refer to this as what? As an act of social engineering. Okay? Deliberate software attack. Maybe you want to, in a time of trade conflict or superiority over a vendor, then there might be a development of a software to threaten an existing organization that is using a software, just to create a kind of buy-in of a software. Okay? Force of failure. This is one of the very delicate threats to information systems, where even though you have all your information systems highly secured using all the security parameters, there might still be a force of nature that can affect the entire structure of the information systems. And what are these forces? It can be theft, it could be fire outbreak, flood, earthquake, and some of these forces are beyond human control, can actually affect the integrity of an information systems. And look at it, deviation in quality of service. This is actually on the administrative hand or the vendor or consultants. When you deviate in providing the quality information systems, then the system could be exposed and violate the principle of information security policy. Then the technical hardware failure or error. Have you ever experienced this, where all the system configurations are intact, but there's a technical failure as a result of obsolete hardware or unupdated system antivirus, or maybe counterfeit operating systems and softwares? This can actually cause some system failure, and of course, technology obsolescence. You will not be relying on old generation systems, and you expect your new data to be secured in that approach. So we also look at the security approaches. And Imam Ganiu, I believe you were in the class last week. Shams Sharafa Lawa, were you in this class last week? Because I noticed two of you were not in this class. I don't know what went on, but remember, I'm not repeating the last class, except in just trying to create a recap. Why are some people just joining the class? What happened? The lecture starts some weeks ago. Were you just given admission or what? Okay, it's okay. Let's go ahead. So what we are trying to discuss is to justify the need for the topic and the need for information security and information security techniques. So in the previous class, the physical class I had with you, I defined what information is, isn't that? Then I define what information security is. Then in this class, we are trying to discuss what information security techniques is all about. Information could be discussed as your critical assets that you put online, okay, including your hardware and your software, your network and your database. All these are components of information systems that allows transmissions of data from one point to another. Now, the information security is the objective of securing that these critical assets actually perform as they are expected to. They did not deviate from the norms and they were not exposed to unnecessary interference. So that is the concept of the information security. The information security techniques are the model or the mechanisms we can deploy to ensure that these objectives are met. You've stated the objective of your security to ensure the systems are secure. And in the last class, we tried to leverage on a particular NIST model, which is the CIA triad. That is, the objective of your information systems is to ensure that the systems do not fall out of confidence, the systems are not exposed to unnecessary alterations, that is, the integrity of the systems were maintained, then the confidentiality of the systems were actually explained, and the availability. That we explain the CI triad, which is the principle of information security policy. The CI triad refers to an information system security model which is made up of three main elements. We still have other elements, but we prioritize these three elements as an important principle that must be upheld: the confidentiality, the integrity, and what? The availability of the information systems. Each of these components are linked to one another and they represent a fundamental objective as far as this course is concerned. So if you look at the aspect of security, we have considered different attack systems, and we need to review some of these attack systems on how your information security can be compromised. Remember, I talk about information security from the angle of people, the system, and the process. The people that are using the information systems must be secure, and the best way to make them secure is to make them to be aware or conscious of the threat to their usage of the information systems and the consequences that may erupt if the information system did not deliver its own objectives. So when we are developing a security approach, we consider people that are using the information systems because they are the key user of the IS, and their cooperations and their resistance will actually contribute to the effectiveness of the security model you deployed. Then the process. Okay, the process means how do you ensure these information systems are secured? The process also explains the topic, which is the techniques. What are the techniques we can use to ensure that the confidentiality, integrity, and the data availability are enforced? It's not all about policy or principle, it also involves mechanisms. So in the concept of information security policy, we have two criteria or two agenda, which I'll call, excuse me, sorry. Okay, so we talk about the people, process, and what? People, process, and what? Platform, okay? Now, we've talked about the people. because they are already engaged with the use of the information systems, they must be well managed, and they ensure that the process you put in place actually meets the objective. The process involves, okay, how you ensure, okay, data. I also have data, okay. I hope you can see my screen, it's shared. We have data, or preferably your information system. So we have your data or your information system. And the information systems comprises of what? Your hardware, your software, your database, your network, and what have you. All these are important information systems that must be safeguarded. And safeguard them against what? We safeguard these information systems against theft. Whatever classification we call it, they all fall under the confidentiality of these information systems, the integrity of these information systems, and what? The availability of the systems. So this is the concept we are trying to explore in this course. These are the information security, these are the objective. These are our objective as far as this course is concerned. And this objective will be tailored towards who? Towards to ensure the security of our data, to ensure the security of our data. The people that uses the information systems must be secure. Now the process we use, how do we ensure that all these objectives are met? They can be driven by what? Policy, model, mechanism. Okay? Policy, model, and mechanisms. Now, why policy? We said it is in form of an abstract documentation of how people should be engaged with all these information systems. How people should be engaged with these information systems. Okay? That is the policy. That is, when you are using the software, the policy states that it must be updated periodically. The policy also enforces that you must use what? Genuine software, licensed software, and that is free of any form of viruses. That is the policy. The policy also indicates that only necessary people or only some categories of people can actually access this particular environment, which is your database environment. How you are getting my analysis? Okay? The policy also explains that only particular people, that is all the people we have here, not all of them can access, if all of them can access the software, but not all of them can access what? The database. So that means we only have selected people or all. Selected people or all the employee can access the database systems. And of course, the network. The network also, the information security objective of the network also ensures that the network is readily available at any time. And not only available, the network is available to only authorized people that are configured on the access list. You can see the terms of information security policy now. I'm going to explain this better using a framework. Excuse me. What happened? So we're trying to explain the framework we need to go through in this course. What's happening to my network? Okay, there we go. So, what's happening here? So we try to look at, maybe you get the concept now, right? Information security techniques, right? So we try to look at the construct or how we can approach the study objective. That is, we define information as what? We define information as, particularly, rather than defining information, to make it clearer, we define it as information system. Okay, and that is clear from the normal information you have now, because we have information from the social sciences, but here we have information pertaining to our information systems. And the information system we are dealing with here includes our hardware, our software, database, network, and all these things. By the time you look at this, you realize that all the components of our information systems fall under this criteria. Do you agree? Your information system you are protecting will likely be your hardware, your software, the database, and the network. And why we have the network is because we are going to be, maybe we have another systems here. Okay, we have people, we have another systems in another location or another organizations. Then the network must be secured. So what are we now trying to do? The information systems and the security. But before we approach the security, we try to look at people that uses the information systems. And when we talk about people, we're talking about people with different roles, responsibility, and in different location. And when we have these people, we also need to consider the fact that these are the people we know. We still have some other people which are more general that can become threat to the information system. So maybe we call these people third party. Maybe we call these people, okay, authorized. Are you following that? That's authorized people. Then we have unauthorized people. Now, what do we mean by authorized people? That is how these people access the information systems. So we can have in such a way that these people access the information systems using by following the policy we define, or the database, or how they access the system hardware and other resources, which includes the database and what? And the network. So the same way these authorized people access these information system resources are the same way these unauthorized people can access the information system as well. It's the same way these people can access the information system as well if proper security measures are not in place. Are you getting that? It's the same way authorized people access the information systems is the same way unauthorized people access the information systems. And by default, we have information system as a blind systems. Information system is a blind system that can only recognize those that have the specific attributes. For instance, your user password can be used by anybody irrespective so far they have your password details. Isn't that? Now, how do we now ensure what are the techniques we can put in place to ensure that only authorized people actually access the information systems? And that is what we are trying to look at as far as this system is concerned. Now, what are the security approach? What are the security approaches? Now we have computer security. What do we mean by computer security? You realize that we've talked about computer systems. The use of that computer is one of the vital components of information security, how people interface and use the systems. How people interface and use the systems. So we can have our computer systems here. Excuse me. Okay. That is our computer system, which is what? The generic name for collections of tools designed to protect data and what? And hackers. So you realize that all these information systems we model reside within what? Within the computer systems. All the information systems reside within the computer systems. So if the objective is to ensure the computer systems, we must agree that our sole responsibility is to also ensure all the components that made up the computer systems. So in this case, we call the computer system information systems because it's not only the computer. The computer is made up of the hardware and the software. Then we have other peripheral information systems that make the computer systems to function as it's supposed to function. And that is where the information security objective is applicable to the use of computer systems. Then the network. So while we are also concerned about the security of the computer systems, we must also be concerned about the measures to protect data that runs within two or more computers. Now, when we have a systems like this, because of the emerging trends in computing, we have boundaryless computers, we have serverless computers, and we also have cloud systems or distributed systems. And the more we have all these trends, we have attacks skyrocketing. And the difficulties of detecting who is malicious or who is not malicious is becoming so complex because of the proliferations of two or more computer systems. And more importantly, because of the over-reliance on the internet systems. For all these people to access the information system, there must be a connectivity, and that is the network systems. Whether you are using a local neural network or wide area network, there's always a connectivity. And the presence of connectivity escalates some of these threats we have discussed in the previous classes. The presence of the internet escalates some of the threats, including phishing attacks, denial of services, ransomware attacks, and other forms of attack that could be launched on our information systems. And take note from this model that attack can surface from any category, even from the authorized people and unauthorized people. And what are the forms of attack that can surface from the user? Negligence, misconfigurations. We said these are some of the attacks that are not taken lightly in the history of information systems. And the internet security as well. While we are addressing the network security, that is, we are addressing the network systems, we must also ensure the security of the internet. we must also ensure the security of the internet. By what? By developing measures to protect data during their transmission over an interconnected network. And we need to spell our focus as far as information security is concerned. Now, when you are trying to develop a security approach or security techniques for an information systems, you will understand that one cap will not particularly fit all the information systems. One security approach might not be applicable to all the information systems. That means each layers of the information systems has their security techniques. And that is why today we have different forms of information systems. We have different forms of attack preventions, attack detections, and systems that can help to minimize the flow of these attacks. Okay, so our focus here will be on the internet security, which consists of the provisions of measures to deter, to prevent, to detect and correct any security violations that may involve or that may engage the data during their transmissions. What did I say? The measures to detect, the measures to prevent, and the measures to deter and correct any security violations that involve the transmission and storage of information. And how are we going to accomplish these measures? It's by looking at different security constructs, different security techniques. So let us quickly look at this from the computer emergency response team. We have this framework that shows how attack is emerging. And you and me, we look at this framework from 1999, maybe when some of us have not been using the information system then. And what are the attack structure during this time? We look at the attack structure during this time, which are mostly in form of internet social engineering attacks. That is, then attacks started to surface because internet just become a tool of the business. Then we have social engineering. And what are the common social engineering then? We have like malwares, worms, and viruses. Isn't that? As the year progresses to maybe 1994 or to 1996, we have increasing attacks, which involve sniffers attacks, packet spoofing, hacking sessions. And let's quickly look at these three forms of attack. Snippers involves the means of exploiting weaknesses, trying to sniff to exploit if there's any weaknesses in the network systems. So we realize that attacks started from when computers started to move over the boundaries. I mean, when computers became a boundary computing, then these attacks skyrocketed to like packet spoofing. Packet spoofing would not have happened if an organization did not rely on an internet systems. Within an internet systems, we have a router systems that route information from one point to destination. I mean, from one destination to another. And these information systems, as data flow within a network, that is, all our data will be encoded in bytes and placed in a packet. And it is this packet that we route, that is why we call it router. This packet will route this information to another packet, which is a delivery, is in form of postman machine. Maybe a postman, you are expected to send a letter from Canada to Nigeria. What the postman does is to send from Canadian office to Nigerian embassy. And from Nigerian embassy, it will be reposted to different sectors before the letter actually goes to you. So you also realize that the moment the letter goes to Nigerian embassy, it will be handed over to the postman, whereby the postman will not just give it to anyhow person, except the person that has his attributes or his characteristics on the letters. That is by addressing systems, by addressing systems. So in these computer systems, we have the packaging, which means every delivery will have their ID and the destination will also have their ID. So attacks began to surface from that concept where people try to smooth what is inside this packet in order to know how it's going to be altered. And you can see the year that we started having fiber optic cable, you can see why it was more reliable that data that travel within fiber optic cable are free of interference. It shows that the fiber optic cables has been in existence for years, and interference to data has also been a social engineering attack, whereby people or attackers try to listen to what is traveling within a network. Then we have the attack surface migrating to executable of codes, denial of services, distributed attack tools, which began to emerge in 1998 to 1999 from this framework. So